here a few scientist names we have to learn. Like I think I gave the word Haeckel. Haeckel is a scientist who gave the word plastic. Then we are having under plastids various different types of plastids will be there. Among them, chloroplast is one kind of plastid. Okay, the plastids are classified. The plastids are classified by Skimfer, another scientist name. You will be having only in plant cell. So the number of plastids in a plant cell were termed as plastidome. This is the new term. Plastidome. Okay. The plastidome refers to number of plastids present in plant cell. Clear? So the plastidome may be ranging from 20 to 70 in number. Means a plant cell may possess 20 to 70 plastids. Okay, that refers to plastidome. Then regarding the intermembrane space that we discussed between the outer and inner membrane of chloroplast. So the other name for this intermembrane space in some books they refer as periplastidal space. So this is another term for intermembrane space in chloroplast. Okay, periplastidal space. Now, when you take the word thylakoid, so thylakoid is nothing but coin-like structures. Okay, when you take the thylakoid term was given by Mackay, scientist name. Okay, then you'll have chlorophyll. Chlorophyll, the green pigment which is involved in photosynthesis. You'll observe chlorophyll in structures called quantazome. This is another new word. Now, quantazome is nothing but structural and functional unit which carries photosynthesis. Okay, quantazome word was given by scientists Park and Biggins. This is all data, just like historical data. What quantazome? Quantazome is functional unit of photosynthesis. Okay, Naisha. Okay, yeah. Ronak, quantazome is a photosynthetic unit. Okay, the photosynthetic unit which will have the chlorophyll. Means where the actual photosynthesis process takes place. Functional aspect of the chloroplast. The first function, the last session we discussed photosynthesis. Yes. Then under photosynthesis, we are having various processes. Among various processes, we discuss the light-dependent reactions and the light-independent reactions. Okay, I'll just give a quick overview of that light-dependent and light-independent reactions. Usually, the light-dependent reaction, when you take, it occurs with the help of three components. Okay, the first component is called photosystem 1. Second component is called photosystem 2. Then the third component is electron transport chain. Okay, these are the three components which are involved in light-dependent reaction. So the light dependent reaction definitely needs sunlight. Okay, only in the presence of sunlight only the light dependent reaction happens. Now these two photosystems, they will take up the sunlight, okay, and release energy through a process called electron transport chain. When you take both the photosystems, there are various components in photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Just don't bother about the terminology of photosystem 1 and 2 components. For convenience purpose, I had given examples like X1, X2, X3 in the last session. So X1, X2, X3 refers to various components of photosystems. Okay, actually their real names are different. You're not needed to learn all those right at this level. So I'm giving for assumption purpose X1, X2, X3. Assume these are the different molecules in photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Now, during electron transport chain, what happens is the photosystem 1 will take up the energy with the help of molecule called X1, which is sunlight here. Light energy it will take. Okay, and it gets excited. Means gets activated. As a result, electrons will be released. Now these electrons will be taken up by the next molecule. Assume X2. Now this X2 molecule will get activated. Once it gets activated, it will start releasing electrons. Okay. Now these electrons will be taken up by the next molecule by name X3. So this kind of electron transport occurs in a form of chain reaction. So that's how energy will be taken up and energy will be released. So the energy released in this whole process will be always in the form of ATP. That's the basic point. This happens in light dependent reaction. Okay. Then we discussed about light independent reaction. Then in light independent reaction, what happens? This is the second step in photosynthesis, where the light independent reaction, independent means it may occur even at night time. So day and night time, in both cases, we can have the light independent reaction of photosynthesis. So why I am stressing on this point is photosynthesis may happen even at night time also. Clear with that point? Okay. So photosynthesis not only happens in daytime, it can happen at night time, but not the whole process, but only part of photosynthesis, which we call light independent reaction. Okay. Now what happens in light independent reaction? This we already discussed while we discussed in Calvin cycle. So Calvin cycle is the cycle. Moonlight? No, Akshay. No, it's not because of moonlight. Light is not at all required. See, light is required only for activation. Activation of a molecule or excitation of a molecule. The molecule gets excited and it will release electrons which will be transferred into energy. Yeah, for production of ATP only sunlight is required. Okay, then no need of sunlight. Once the electrons got transported, they will come into Calvin cycle, where carbon dioxide will be taken in and water molecules are taken in, which will form the glucose molecule. So this is Calvin cycle, which happens in light independent reaction. Okay, so part of photosynthesis process. Now the glucose molecule, during formation of glucose molecule from carbon dioxide and water, you will have various intermediates. One of the intermediate is C3P, glyceraldehyde triphosphate, that we discussed in the last class. Yeah, exactly, Naisha. Rubisco enzyme is involved. Yeah, everything I showed in the last class slide. ADP and NADP not produced, released. We call it as release. Production is different from release. Release is when one compound gets converted to another compound. Some byproducts will be released. Okay, that's not called production. Production is here in the light dependent reaction. ATP is produced now. That is called production. Production is different, release is different. Here ADP and NADP are released. Okay, again they will be taken up by the light dependent reaction and the whole process goes on. It's like a cycle. See, light dependent, light independent, light dependent, light independent. It's a cycle. Cycle of photosynthesis.